What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the EZ Convo. I'm Zaid. I'm here with my co-host Emmanuel Byrd. Today, we're joined by the head men's basketball coach at Wyandotte High School, former collegiate hooper, and founder and owner of Spence League Kansas City. Our guest is someone who has left his fingerprints all over the Kansas City area as a basketball player, coach, and a community builder.
Y'all gonna see this all over y'all Instagrams. We are joined by none other than the commissioner himself, Mr. AJ Spencer.
Appreciate you guys,
AJ, like we
man.
do all of our guests. Of course, of course. Thank you, thank you. And like we do all of our guests, we got a lengthy but conducted resume for you. And just let me know how we run it down. So AJ played in 66 games with Hutchinson Community College, where he averaged 15 points per game. That season, they finished 31 and 33, that being the 2012-13 season, where he started in every game. As a sophomore, average, or not average, but as a sophomore, he shot 59% from the field, and he also shot 47% from three and 80% from the free throw line. Went in there, like we talked about earlier, went in there, grabbed 6 rebounds per game. His freshman year, he jumped in and averaged 8 points a game with 82 rebounds and 59 assists total on the year. He then transferred to Long Beach State, where he averaged 10 points per game and 5 rebounds and 3 assists. As I'm reading this is an overly respected resume, a very extensive career to say the least. AJ, we got a ton of questions for you today. We're looking very forward to the conversation, and we hope that it's an easy one for you.
I appreciate you, bro. You might have to mute your mic again. Yeah. At the same time,
I got you.
that's spot on. I think the only thing you're missing is obviously high school, but that's very, very far away. I was the leading leading points at my high school for 12 years until I went back to, coach the kid who ended up breaking in Damari Smith. I was also second in assists and top five in rebounds and shooting percentage. But man, it didn't come without the hard work that my coaches installed in me, but also my dad and my mom sacrificed so much for me to even, taste some of the fruits that I was able to, gain through basketball. So just very, very blessed. Very blessed.
Awesome. Kind of to touch on that, that's kind of where we're going to start. Let's start from the beginning, kind of your journey. Just tell the audience where you're from, a little bit about yourself and kind of what your basketball journey has looked like.
So I'm from Salina, Kansas. A lot of people don't know where that is. It's in the middle of Kansas. If you throw a dart in the middle of Kansas, you probably hit Salina. At the same time, my parents got divorced. I moved up to Kansas City. Ended up going to Shawnee Mission Northwest at a high school. Like I said, had a very, very good career. At the same time, there was a really, really good conference. I played against like Tyler Kalinowski, he was Davidson. He went to Davidson out of high school. He played with me for Kansas City Pump and Run, who I played for out of high school. Even backtracking to middle school, I played for Kansas City Tar Heels and Coach Nody Newton, who was the head coach at North Kansas City. I mean, assistant head coach at North Kansas City for a while. So just played for a lot of good coaches. LJ Goolsby, like I said, with Pump and Run. But in high school, I played for David Meskey, who not David Meskey, Ben Meskey, who was he won 4 state championships at Topeka Hayden, and then came to Kansas City and started over at Shawnee Mission Northwest. So I was there for that part of his career, and then after that, ended up getting a chance to go to junior college, which I mean, it's a doghouse, man. Fighting out at junior college is one of the craziest experiences I've ever had, just because when I was going there, it was very, very unheard of, especially for someone that was being recruited like me to pick to go to junior college over, going D2 and trying to figure it out that way. Now it's easy to go D2, NAIA, and excel up. Back then, it was kind of looked, not even to say down upon because you were wasting those 2 years, but now you don't have to worry about that. But I got the chance to go to Hutch, play for Coach Eck, and shoot, he's still winning today. He's at Cape High School. He just won state the last 2 years, back-to-back state championships. And like I said, when I was at Hutch, he taught me a lot of things that were able to help me be successful, not only as a player, but as a coach, which is, listening to your players, and playing through your players. A lot of the things that he asked for was just on defense, and everything else on offense was kind of up to us. And that's how we were successful, because I mean, he let us play our game. But that helped me lead to our my sophomore year at Hutch, where we were undefeated. We started off the season 24-0. Won the Region 6 tournament, went to the national championship for the first time in 15 years. I had Kadeem Allen, Alex Davis, BJ Watson, Kevin Gunner, Roselle Nunn, Devon Campbell. I could keep going down to Jack Pyle, keep going down the list of all the guys that went and played college basketball on my JUCO team. We have 5 guys go play Division I basketball for my JUCO team, including I think he was like 29 overall draft pick by the Knicks, and Kadeem Allen. So I mean, we had a really, really good basketball team at Hutch that it was able to make it to the tournament, and that's where I got recruited by Long Beach State and ended up going there. And it was dope, man. Being in California, experiencing the sunshine and the bright lights. It was dope, but also being able to learn a different brand of basketball. Kansas is, not to say it's very robotic, but a lot of back cuts, a lot of stuff that is not having the ball in your hands when I was growing up. Now it's a lot different with social media and stuff like that. So with trainers that we have in Kansas City, they help close that gap. But when I was growing up, we didn't have trainers like that. So you just have to, erase your mind of all that knowledge that's being bestowed upon you guys now, and just understand that that wasn't happening when I was in high school and even before that. So shout out to all the OGs that came back to Kansas City and are, actively giving back, no matter who it is. It's awesome because, our city needs it, no matter who it is. And like I said, being in California, I got to work with Olin Simplist, who is an NBA trainer and works with, the MVP and SGA, and also, numerous NBA players. Ken Nagasaka, who is my trainer and manager at Long Beach State. When I tore my ACL, he helped me learn how to not only walk again, along with my head athletic trainer and Jared Sparinger at Long Beach State, but helped me learn rhythm again, because it was tough, man. Not having my knee or leg and being immobile for a month, and then coming back and not being able to walk for 2 months off of that was insane. So that all happened my supposed to be my senior year, but I had to redshirt. But going into my senior year, it helped me, have some really, really highlights of my senior year. I dropped 20 on Duke, and they had Grayson Allen, they had Brandon Ingram, they had the dude, I forgot what his name is. I always forget his name is, but he was a left-handed shooter. Played for the Clippers. They had a bunch of draft picks on their team, and it was just awesome just to be on the court with some of those guys and just to experience some of the experiences that I had my senior year. And not only that, just at Long Beach is
There we go.
like fighting demons getting in this motherfucker.
We had to pray for you, put you on the prayer list, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
We'll get you taken care of with your Wi-Fi and everything.
didn't know how to connect to the Wi-Fi to get on the Riverside, man. Damn.
Nah, you sounded a lot smoother though, for sure. We
Man.
was just chopping it up real quick about AAU pass and things like that, giving some flowers to a lot of the people that helped see us through and things like that when we were playing. And that kind of really, it leads into the next question I had for you. Um, you touched all the way back to middle school when you were playing for the Tar Heels and
Yeah.
things like that. And you've given numerous shout outs, but could you kind of touch on those people who poured into you early into your basketball career and kind of helped shape you not only as a basketball player but as a man?
Like I said, first and foremost, my dad, my namesake, man. Like, without Anthony George Spencer the first, man, there would be no second, there would be no third in my son. So, he's the biggest mentor in me. He's the one that was outside throwing the football with me on the field, outside playing around the world, playing one-on-one with me. My mom obviously getting me everywhere, pouring into me financially, all that, and with love too, and support. And then, my stepdad being there too. So, I had 3 parents growing up. So it wasn't like, there was no support for me. So, um, though that's first and foremost the people that I can give thanks to. As far as coaches, like I said, Nody Newton um, saw me playing for a mom and pop team, and obviously giving them hell, being an inner city team and me playing probably with a bunch of suburban boys, and me being living in Shawnee, playing against kids from 47th in Cleveland. I don't even know where it's 43rd in Cleveland. I don't know the exact address anymore, but that Boys and Girls Club where we used to practice at, every day, man, and practice at Don Bosco Center and, in the Northeast Kansas City area. And, just getting that experience is, what shaped me because my dad and my mom were divorced when I was young. So my mom remarried and I lived a privileged life living in Shawnee, but my dad was living in Section 8 housing, barely kind of making it. And as I grew up, he obviously did better. But when I was younger, it was struggling, and every other week I got to experience that. It wasn't every day, like the kids at my high school at Wyandotte, or even like the kids that I was playing with the Tar Heels. And that's how I got to meet, Gucci Washington, Dominique Washington, who is a coach at Rockhurst and has been a coach in high school and done a lot of great things in the area. Um, I could go off and name probably everybody on my middle school AAU team, and they played college basketball and Division I basketball. Like Jamal Branch played at St. John's and Texas A&M. DJ Jackson played at Oral Roberts. Javon Lau played at Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I played at Long Beach State. Gucci played at Rockhurst and Avila. I'm trying to. Tyler Rambo went to Murray State. Corey Hilliard went to Nebraska. So, I'm playing with these guys when I'm, in middle school. We're the number one team in the nation, going to nationals when that's still a thing. And, competing against, the Bradley Beals, the Jeff Teagues, these guys that are, going on to NBA and playing, huge roles and impactful roles, especially now that they're retired. But like I said, there's so many coaches. LJ Goolsby, like I said, without him seeing me play for the Tar Heels, and I would never play for Pump and Run. I would have never kind of really known what it was going to be like when I went to college. Not to say that it was a whole lot different, my playing style and how they used me, but just like going through the practices, going through just like lifting and all the other stuff that I was prepared for because my dad is a physical trainer, but at the same time it's just different when you're everything is conditioning, basketball, eat, just like everything that you would do in college except for school. So just very, very thankful for those programs and those people, man. Like without great men, no matter what their backstory was or what they did outside of basketball, man, what they did for me through basketball was the most important thing. And I think real people can always separate that type of stuff. So I'm just so blessed. And, some of these guys are still doing great things in coaching now, which is just a testament to them. So I'm glad to be, a part of their tree. Coach Eck, he wasn't there when I was in middle school, but like I said, these guys, man, it's hard for me not to like, give these guys flowers because I wouldn't want to be a coach if it wasn't for them. Um, my coach in college, that recruited me when I was at Hutch, Coach Palmer. He founded the Compton Magic, which is a huge AAU organization in Los Angeles. But, for him to see what he saw in me, I mean, shoot, he saw, a bunch of people play. He saw DeMar DeRozan play. I mean, he coached at, Dominguez High with Tayshaun Prince and, a lot of other, really, really good dudes when they were the number one team in California. So just been blessed to be around, good dudes that, have put me on game. Obviously, I've had to learn a lot of things on my own and, fight for a lot of things that I've gotten on my own. But I have a very, very strong circle and very, very strong village and would not be able to do anything I'm doing right now without my family. So, I mean, like I said, when I was a kid, those are the people. Sorry to ramble on, but those are the people that were really, really impactful in my life, and I'm so thankful for the Tar Heels, so thankful for Pump and Run, So thankful for the KC Wolves. So thankful for the Kansas City Vipers. You know, those are the two mom and pop teams I played on before. You know, I played on, you know, other teams. That's why I hate when people be like, you know, these guys are moving teams. Like, dude, I did that when I was younger. You know, you elevate. I don't know what people want you to stay at the same level and grow with people. And in the business world, when you do good things, you move on and do your own business. So I don't know why that's something that is so hard for people to understand, especially in college. But it's the same way in high school too. So and middle school, elementary school, you know, move on to the next great opportunity. And if you really support that person, you keep supporting them, and it is what it is. So, yeah, but great question. Great question.
Shout out to the lineage. Shout out to the
All right.
lineage.
Great lineage. Great lineage.
Awesome, man. So you played at Hutch for you went to China Northwest High School. You played at Hutch for 2 years. You went from Hutch to Long Beach State, and then you mentioned your knee injury you had at Long Beach State. Kind of maybe touch on that experience for the audience and kind of what lessons you that taught you.
Man, I'll never forget it. It's like, you know, you say the catch 22, but it's like 22 lessons. Like it wasn't just one lesson. Like that day that I tore my ACL, it was a scrimmage for a recruit that we were trying to get that didn't sign. And at the same time, you know, that's me being petty. But at the same time, like, I didn't want to play. And because it was my senior season, I just wanted to focus. I wanted to, you know, train. I wanted to get working. I mean, I'm going to play all year. I want to work on my game and, you know, limit the amount of, you know, contact and stuff that I need before the season to prevent injury. And I had the wrong mindset, and I went in not wanting to play. And you know, it was crazy because you know we have DeMar DeRozan there, we have you know James Harden there, we got you know Casper Ware there, we got dudes you know at our open gyms, you know, to help get some of these guys to come to our school. So it was fun, but just like you know, saying before the season, it's like I'm really trying to get out of here. I had agents that were you know on my line, you know, saying like if you had a good year, you know, it would be good for you, but I went up for a rebound, just on a routine rebound, and came down. And I thought I stepped on someone's foot, hurt my knee pop. Um, Immediately went to the ground, and after that, it was like a blur, man. I just remember I was in the training room, and my who I gave a shout out to earlier, my head trainer and doctor, Jared Sparinger at Long Beach State, uh, obviously did the test on my knee, and he told me that I for sure tore my meniscus and that they were going to have to do X-ray and MRIs to see if I tore my ACL. Ended up finding out through Long Beach Memorial. Shout out to Long Beach Memorial because, like I said, I don't give these people shout outs just to give them shout outs. I give them shout outs because, like, you know, my knee is probably healthier than my other knee. So, like, I came back better, but at the same time, like, just everything that I went through was a blessing. Um, but you know, finding out I tore my ACL to, you know, having the surgery, my mom having to come out, me sitting out and watching practice and watching everything and just seeing it from a third person eye view and seeing like because I had animosity towards my head coach when I was in college. Not to say everybody does, but I feel like there were some good situations for me too, especially just like when I was, you know, when I first started there, I saw something I should have went with that sign. You know, me being from Kansas, me being, you know, the type of person that I am, and my dad being like, "No, fight through it, especially if you want it." I just kept fighting through it, and you know, some of that stuff I feel like he helped me, you know, grow as a young man. But at the same time, I feel like he could have helped me grow even more if he would have supported me as a head coach. But you know, that is what it is. But you know, I got to see some things that he was, you know, saying that were actually kind of true. And I was sat back and I was like, hey, you know, when I come back, you know, I can kind of establish these things, become a better leader. Like I told you, I got to work on my footwork, my skill, and my drive, doing the workouts that I was doing with Ken, or some of the workouts that I put my kids through, and I put kids through that are going to do great things. Matt Bradley, Trey Williams, Bernardo da Silva, Leonardo Calamario, Mike Saunders, Richie Saunders, Madi Sissoko, Fus Husseini, you know, who else? Who else can I name? Keaton Wagler, Ethan Taylor. You know, these guys that, you know, Vince Nixon, Dom Nixon, these guys that, you know, trusted me to do this stuff is the same type of stuff that I had to do when I was learning how to walk again. So for them to pay attention to that detail, and obviously have the same drive that I had to have in those times, man. I promise you, it was like fighting. I don't even know how you could say it's the closest thing to death without it being death, because like I said, I couldn't walk, man. I had to ride a scooter to school. I lived a mile away from school. I was riding a handicapped scooter on the sidewalk to school, riding on campus, having to go to practice. My campus is 3 times the size of Disneyland. So like I'm having to go from the pyramid where we play all the way to upper campus, which is, 2 miles away from where I am, on an electric scooter, charging my scooter in class while I'm, doing classwork, hoping that it charges up so I can make it back down and make it to school, charging it at the gym. It was a full grind, man. And I'm just thankful that I had great PT. Like my PT when I was at Long Beach State, uh, whether it was through my school or it was with the outside organization that I worked through, which was Long Beach. I think it was Long Beach. Chiropractor and athletics. I don't know exactly what the name of it was. To be exact, it's been over a decade since that, but they helped me. I remember Miss Renee Snyder. I remember her helping me. Giving me all type of treatment with the shark tooth on my scar, breaking up the scar tissue, working on deflection, inflection, balance, all that stuff. And like I said, that's the stuff that we do in our workouts at Wyandotte. Stuff that we do in our individual stuff at Wyandotte. Um, as much as I want to complain about it, it's almost like, I get to be a martyr for our kids. I get to go through all the adversity, all the bad stuff, so our kids don't have to do it. Our kids know what foam rollers are. Our kids know how to stretch with resistance bands and stuff like that. So, our kids look like 30-year-old, 35-year-old men out there with balls and bands stretching before practice and stuff. But I mean, we have so much injury prevention that we don't have any injuries. Like, I have a kid that thought he was injured, and we had did so much work that, when he found out through the doctors that he wasn't injured, he was able to quickly change his mindset just because of the type of work we're doing. And like I said, I'm just so blessed to be able to go through what I am, and obviously to be on this show right now. Like, is I'm doing something, and that's all that I want to do, is just help somebody else, because I know if I could go back and do this for myself, I would do it 10 times over again. I know you guys, when you guys get older and get a chance to pay back through basketball, that is what I challenge everybody to do. It's the best thing in the world. So
That's real, man. And I was talking to Zaid about this the other day, and I was like, "You're gonna hear AJ speak, and like you're gonna you're gonna hear the realness in his story, man. Like this is one dude that's always gonna give flowers. He's always going to uplift the next person, and that's just how you are." And I wanted to ask you this next question. You talk on your journey through injury and just the ups and downs that come with that. I think any hooper can touch on like, oh man, like I remember I rolled my ankle 2 weeks ago and it's been hurting. Like that's always just a nagging injury, but you went through serious injury. And my question is for you, did you ever have a point in your career or along your journey where you're like, man, like I don't even know if this basketball stuff for me, or like
yeah, but
how did you go with responding to those thoughts?
it was before I even tore my ACL. So like I said, I've just been so blessed, man. I can't even the number of things that I've went through. I haven't taken them personal, and I haven't taken them like, why me. Um, when I transferred to, I'll talk on just the adversity first, and then I'll talk about like just the injuries and just the mindset that it could change, or battling through it, what you have to have. But me not thinking basketball was for me wasn't till I was in college. Like I used to fight to get in the gym when I was in high school. I used to get kicked out by the custodians at my own high school, where I was the scoring leader and all that stuff, and everybody wanted me to go to college and all that other good stuff, but no one wanted to see me get in work like that, because I used to get kicked out of the gym. So like it's you know going into college and having that same mindset. um I thought it would be hard for me to break, but me being an All-American in JUCO, going to Long Beach State, and not starting the first 4 games of my collegiate career, because I was quote unquote, not being who they recruited. um, it really took like a hit on me because it was like, damn, like, I kind of trusted these people to, have my best foot forward and kind of fight through me and kind of lead me, not tell me what I was doing wrong, but at least give me, some type of, path to how I could fix it or what I could get better at. That's kind of been like my main motto in my coaching career is like, I'm not going to get on you. And if I don't have something to give you, like that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to get on you and just leave you with, leave you wondering, what do I need to do next? And going to ask other people or all the other stuff. No, I'm going to let you know directly what you have to do. And that just wasn't something I was, privy to at Long Beach State. And um, it messed with me mentally, man. I remember walking from my dorm to the mid, which was a little bit of a walk through a big parking lot. But I remember calling my mom and, my dad, I couldn't call my dad. My dad had been like, excuse my language, he'd been like, you a pussy. Like, come on, fight through that shit. Like, I was, my dad used to be on my ass. I used to get my ass whooped when I was a kid. So, my dad was hard on me for a good reason. And he wasn't here for me to make excuses because of the type of stuff that he went through. And, me as a grown man, I look back on my boy, you was soft as hell. And it's the same thing that my dad would have said to me. But my mom was not the usual mother type of softening that I was expecting. I was expecting her to be like, come home, you can go to UMKC, you can go to whatever schools around here that you were getting recruited by before, and we can make it happen. But she was like, hey, man, you made a commitment. You got people that are looking up to you, that want to see you battle through this, and this is what you chose, and you have to honor this. And literally, the next game we played against LMU at home, and I came off the bench after we lost to Arizona by 40. Yeah, we played against Aaron Gordon. Nick Johnson, Stanley Johnson, and TJ McConnell, and I forgot who else. There were some guys on there, but we lost by 40. They were really really good. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were Elite Eight talent, but at the same time, played against LMU the next game. I came out had 15. Booster started talking. Why isn't this guy starting? We recruited him to come here from Long Beach. I mean, recruited here from Hutch. He's All American, and it kind of took off from there. We played K State. I started again. Went home. I think we played them again. Scored 15 again, and started from there on out. But just that adversity right there is really tough, and for me to lean on my people, obviously for them to hear, you know, me out, but also just not let me quit was one of the biggest things that I could really pay testament to for them in my early career. Because I could have came home, man. Like I said, I was getting recruited by every D2 in Kansas and Missouri, and I decided I was too big for them in my head, which was totally wrong. And my mom was right. This is a decision that you made. You got to follow through with it and make it happen. And I was able to make it happen. I said I graduated with my degree. I ended up starting, 60 plus games for Long Beach State. Was one game away from going to the national. I mean, going to the national tournament, and we lost to Hawaii by 3 in our big West tournament. But I mean, it was dope. I was, very very glad to go through that experience and to speak on the next thing. Man, injuries, ankle injuries are nothing compared to no ACL and or even like a shoulder injury. Like I said, I tore my labrum when I was in college, so like I dealt with that too. And it's like any type of injury where you have to have surgery on is literally nothing that you can compare to it. But if you attack the rehab and if you have that killer mindset that I'm gonna go in here every day, even though it's boring, even though it might hurt, even though I don't want to do it today, I think that anybody can come back stronger than what they were just because of you're isolating that injury and isolating that area and working on it so much. And I used to look at when I twisted my ankle, I'm like, oh man, I'm walking different. Like I can't really cut how I can cut, and ever since I tore my ACL, it's like, hold up, like this stuff don't even really matter. Like this is like nagging, but it's not anything to where my knee can't go straight, or I'm not having 100% flexion and able to straighten my knee out. And like I said, just battling through and doing that rehab, man, taking care of your body at a young age, stretching. Nowadays, kids want to play, 100 games and just walk into the gym, eating pop, drinking pop. I'm not my fault, drinking pop and eating candy and that type of stuff. And, you really got to take care of your body, man. You got to hydrate and you got to eat right. And that's some of the things that I didn't do early on in my career and even in college. Not to be forward, but I was partying a little bit. I was drinking a little bit, having fun with my friends, stuff like that. But I was also working my ass off in the gym, and that's what I would say. Like I feel like if I wouldn't have been doing some of that other stuff and really putting more, healthier things in my body, it would have lasted, longer when it came to basketball. But like I said, that's some of the things that you learn, and it's not even to blame it on that stuff because that wasn't, 100% of the reason. A lot of those non-contact injuries can happen any day, and I'm just, very glad that I went through those experiences when I was in college, and that helped propel me as a, grown man and a coach. So. That was a great question.
That's awesome. We kind of touched on some of the challenges you had throughout your college basketball career and the lessons you learned from those, but kind of flipping from the other side, when you look back on your college career, was there a moment or a time that was like you would be like, this was like the peak of my college career? It could have been at Hutch, could have been at Long Beach State. Do you have my apologies, a specific high point in your college career?
Oh yeah.
Gave Duke 20 now. You ain't hearing. You ain't hearing
No,
him
no,
give
no.
Duke 20.
That was like 20 out of frustration, you know what I'm saying? When you playing for a coach that you don't want to play for, and you out there playing through injury, it's almost like, I'm doing a double negative for this motherfucker.
You guarding me.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
guarding me now.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the biggest thing that I could say for any kid that doesn't like the coach that they have, man. Do the Bobby Boucher, dude. Like, look at the person across from you and take it out on them. Like, you taking that on your coach or taking it out on your teammates isn't going to make you look better. It isn't going to help you in your situation, And if you do the opposite, I think that you'll find some solace in it and find some, grace in that too. And like I said, I I would not want to. I would not want to, minimize any of that stuff. But what was my fault? You said the Pacific. My Pacific high point was Hutchinson, 2012, 2013. We started off the season 24-0, but before that, me and my college teammate, before that was there my freshman year, Alex Davis, came together and we said we want to get out of here. We want to go do better things than Hutchinson Community College or Shawnee or Houston, where he was from. And we both did that, man. We both ended up in California after our, college careers, and he ended up going to play in overseas, and he's in Japan right now for his 12th year, playing overseas and doing big things. But our sophomore year was amazing, man. Like, we really brought a whole city together. We saved a national tournament that was not going to be there if we probably didn't make it to the national tournament because, people got to see what that experience was like, and they hadn't seen that in over 15 years. Going undefeated, 24-0, starting off the season, like I said, school history. Um, in that time, I'm averaging, 15, 16 points a game. I had 30 multiple times, and in college, and with the teammates that I had, it was so easy. It wasn't like I was out there, doing like Steph Curry or doing what like Paul George or some of these guys having to do. I was just cutting. I'm just running the floor. I'm just being in the right spot at the right time, knocking down shots, and I just had amazing teammates and an amazing coach that put me in the right position every single second. Um, he, invested in us on and off the court. That's why I invest in my kids. That's why you see me on social media bragging about, not brag. I mean, I brag about it, but like it's not even bragging. It's almost like, this is what you should be doing for your kids. And my head coach, and this might sound weird, but my head coach lived in the dorms when I was at JUCO. So like, yeah. So it was weird, but at the same time, it was. I mean, he had a family, but he wasn't married. He didn't have any kids. He drank boysenberry tea. and cookies and all that, and ate Frosties every night, that type of weird shit. But I mean, at the same time, like he was there for us, man. And he, like I said, anytime we needed anything, Coach Eck was there for us, and no matter what. And that was the biggest thing that made us, I feel like, play better as a group, is because we knew that no matter what, either our coach was going to have our back, or our teammates were going to have our back, and that's what made us very, very strong. And like I said, that team that year, going 32-3, losing in the national tournament to the team that we lost to was a West Texas team, and they had a guy that went 9 for 18 from three. I mean, shit. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. So uh, I was sick. I had 20 in the first half and still lost. And that's one of those games where, you look at it and it's just like, it's life, man. Things could be going good for the first half of this and it could be going bad, but how are you going to respond? And like I said, it's that was 100%. And you could ask my dad, that was the highlight of my career, was my sophomore year at Hutch. I wish it could have been 4 years, but the highlight was sophomore year, man. Sophomore year for sure.
I always think when anyone touches on their experiences in college, or I'm talking to someone who's currently playing now and they're talking about their season, my first thought is always practice. Like what are practices like? How are they conducted? Is your coach a nut? Like, I'm not going to say every coach I've had is a nut, because that's just not the case. I've had great coaches throughout my playing days, and Lord willing, still continue to have great coaches. But um, this is kind of a double-edged question. One, what were those practices like when you were at Hutch, when you were at Long Beach? And then I'll have a second question for you after I
Okay.
hear this.
So my practices at Hutch were very defensive driven. Like everything was defense. But it was almost like it was defense, and then it was like we were, playing a lot. So like we were, our practices were high intensity. We never really played on the same team, starters. So like we were always going against each other, like battling against each other. I would always have to guard Kadeem. He would always have to guard me, type stuff. And like, we always went at each other in practices. They were, only time I've ever been dunked on was by my, college teammate. And I'll never forget. I went up for a rebound, and he was on my team in practice. Grabbed the ball out of my hands and dunked on me and looked at me. I was like, "Nigga, we on the same team." I was like, but saying it's just like one of those instances, like you know, that's how intense our practices were, and that's why in our practices in high school, have the same intensity, man. Like it's, if you can create that environment in practice, I think through any environment, whether you're going, to, Allen Fieldhouse, or even you're going to, your high school is Staley. I mean, I'm sure the student section was crazy in high school. Going from that, experience, you could be in any of those gyms and be good. And I think you have a really, really great atmosphere in practice. He also like I feel like the one thing that I learned just from like that is being a players coach and adapting to what the players want. Sometimes we would play music, not even in practice, but it's in the locker room and just be chilling in there listening to Drake. That's the type of pause, but at the same time listening to Take Care album. In the locker room before our games, man, before our 24-0 season, dude. Every what I'm saying, that's one of the things that you remember. And I'm just very, like I said, very, very grateful for our practices, because those are some of the things that I use to these days uh, in our practices at Wyandotte. So
We was together for 2 years at Wash, but I don't know if we was ever bumping the Take Care album. But we was bumping some good tunes, but for sure, I'm rocking with you.
I'm old, man. That's
My
2007, man. That's a long time ago.
hey, you are not the first person to come on here and promote Drake, so I ain't even going to go too far into that. But the last question we have on college hoops and that part of things is like, how do you feel that the college basketball game today has changed from when you were playing and competing?
Man, um, obviously the whole loyalty to a program and a loyalty to a coach. Not to say that I mean, people were transferring when I was in college. I just don't think it was covered like that. Obviously, when you create a whole, you know, business in NIL and obviously the transfer portal market, it becomes macro instead of micro, so it's just bigger. Um, and at the same time, that's a huge part of it, man. I remember when I was in college, we worked our little camp. That's the only thing we got paid for was that little camp. And I remember I came into that camp. I never did no type of pub for it or no type of questions or interviews. And I remember I came in and I seen a poster with my picture on it and it said, I always went to camp when I was growing up. And I was just like, I went to like 3 camps when I grew up. And it was like, I never really got to go to basketball camps growing up. But at the same time, it's just like, that's how college athletes were kind of used when I was in college. Um, you know, education was, what you were getting paid. And at the same time, like I'm not trying to be like that. That's not equal to the amount of work that we were putting in, along with doing the same amount of education that every single one of our, peers were doing at school, while they got to go work regular jobs or got to have regular lives. And I understand that we, had, commitments and stuff like that, but we were bringing in a lot of money to the school, and a lot of that money is not, wasn't going to college athletes. Obviously, Ed O'Bannon and the NIL case that happened through UCLA. I was privy to that. I already knew that was going to happen. We got the email when I was a senior in college, 2016, that it was a legal action going to be coming. Cal State did not participate in that, so while I did not receive any back payments from the NCAA, some of my teammates that played at USC and other UCLA schools before got $8,000, from that lawsuit. But I think that's the biggest thing, man. Like these kids deserve to eat, dude. Like I remember being in college having 17 cents in my bank, or like, broke as hell, worried about, what I was gonna eat at the calf. Now these guys are making millions of dollars. Obviously they have, great financial literacy. And I think that's the biggest thing that is being pushed nowadays. They're not just, saying NIN. The smart people are going with the financial, literacy part of the NIL and reading the contracts and knowing the numbers and involving good people with them that can handle this and not just turning a blind eye to it and having someone rob you behind your back. But like I said, it's been doing a lot of good things, especially because it's been holding coaches accountable, man. Coaches could tell you things, promise you things, and you know they could unpromise that without even blinking an eye. Now you have to sign contracts. Now there's money involved. I think that just makes everybody have to be on the same page, and obviously a lot of old heads are not going to be okay with that. You've seen Nick Saban and a lot of these guys retire because it's hard to relate to this you know unloyal regime that we have as kids coming in. But it's just it's what they should have been doing. These kids should be getting paid, so it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. I think I agree with you. I think it's a good thing. It's a good opportunity for kids. Yeah, the loyalty aspect of it is a little questionable sometimes, but let the kids get paid, man.
Like obviously, when a kid overdoes and pulls up in a Lamborghini, it's just like, okay, who is this dude? Who is this? Who is this? I'm sorry. I'm not even
How you
trying to put
get
them
that?
out there, but I know my kids. Not even to say they're my kids because they're everybody's kids, but the kids that I've had the pleasure and the blessing of coaching, and like Keaton Wagler, Ethan, even all these kids that I've, they never went out and did that. They never went out and, they're probably driving in a freaking Nissan Altima or whatever. Like they're not even driving in nothing crazy, like putting their money in, whatever type of bonds or whatever type of stocks that they want, and or even whatever investment schemes that they have. And I think it's been amazing just to see. um, I hate when people try to pigeonhole athletes and think that they're just, they get a bunch of money and they're just gonna blow it on whatever. It's like that's what's been holding us back from getting paid for so long. So, to see kids be able to make money, as we talked about before the interview, I mean, it's an opportunity to make money. No matter if you go pro, you can play one more year, get paid, and then go pro. But paid and be able to be at home in the States, playing in front of your family, being in a safe environment. And I think you can never, put a measuring stick on that. Like it's just like it should have been happening. Is it going to be hard for some schools to compete? Yeah, but it's only going to push some schools to have to raise more and more money. Like I took a kid to Sterling University, it's an NAI school in the middle of nowhere, Sterling, Kansas. Dude, they're investing in their sports programs. Like they're putting millions of dollars in their sports programs. If they're doing it, why can't these Power Five schools do it? And they are. And it's like, I as much as I feel bad for the low major schools, like the Big West schools or whatever school that you could put. I don't want to name a conference and everybody go, oh, that's not a low major school. No, I'll put the Big West in there. That's what I played in. You know, it'll be hard to compete a little bit, but I mean, at the same time, man, it's just about marketing, getting the boosters together, getting the money together. So that's it.
Well, now we kind of talked about your college experiences. Now we want to kind of transition to the coaching side of it. Can you kind of walk us through what the transition was like from, college sports to, being a coach and kind of where you started off at?
So I started off at Drive Five, man, out of college. I was working at Drive Five, doing the academies, working with Damari Smith, working with Mose Downing, working with all these dudes that I would end up coaching and playing against, not only in my
Emphasis on
league, but
dudes.
just,
Emphasis
yeah,
on dudes.
just
These dudes can go. These are real hoopers. These are
yeah,
not.
like
These dudes can.
Aiden Shaw. Like these dudes are in the academy. I'm missing a whole bunch of people. It's just like, looking back and looking at these kids that were there, it's amazing, dude. It's amazing to see the growth in the city and just how much, amazing thing. That's why I always try to give flowers, just because I get on social media, see I'm the best, I'm this, I'm that, he's not this, can't do that. And it's like, why not just keep trying to just spread positivity? Obviously, will I talk shit on some things and say some things? Yeah. At the same time, like it's all love. Like I have never, if someone calls me right now asking me, about a kid, I have nothing but great things to say. Now, do I keep some things real? Yeah, but it's just, that's what I do. At the same time, when it came to Drive Five, I started off there. Um, I was there for like 5 months. After Long Beach State, living with my mom, I got a call from a coach that recruited me at La Tech. He had just took a job at Wasatch Academy, which is an independent school. Um, Nationally competes at the national level. Geico, now it's Chipotle Nationals. Um, it's huge, dude. It's one of the best experiences. High school basketball, being able to go to New York and play at the at the gym that they play at. But same time, I was there for 2 years as a head assistant. Got to coach 20 Division I players. Like I said, I already named off some of them: Damian Squire, Matija Ilyasovich, or Ilyich, Madi Sissoko, Fuseni, Tori, Richie Saunders, Michael Saunders, um, Trey Williams, Matt Bradley, Bernardo da Silva, Leonardo Calamerio, Dusham Babanya. A lot of these guys played college basketball. Preston Squire playing at Bowling Green. Like some of these guys are still playing college basketball. Richie and Foose are both at BYU playing in the Big 12 right now. So like just seeing some of these guys, Matty Sissoko played at, Michigan State, Matt Bradley played at Cal, and then went to San Diego State, and then went to the national championship and lost. So at the same time, like, being able to have a very, very small. Like when I say these guys' names, I'm not saying their names and saying like I had I was there. It was me. It was all mine. I just had a little bit to do with it, and then for them to listen to me and to trust me at their age, man, just very, very thankful. So for those 2 years at Wasatch, I got to really experience what it was like to be a college coach and only have to worry about coaching basketball. I was a counselor, but I was only a counselor for our basketball kids, so it wasn't like I was doing something that I was working with, the whole student body. After those 2 years, I decided to come back to Kansas City. My grandpa was going through dementia complications. I had talked my mom into moving him up to Kansas City from Salina. He had been in Salina for 85 years. He was born in Mentor, Kansas, which is a small city outside of Salina. So he's from around that area, never left. And for him to come up here with dementia was huge. And, we obviously got him in an assisted living home. And just because my mom, and I wouldn't put that on anybody. I obviously don't like saying that, but at the same time, it's a lot dealing with memory care and me coming back home and dealing with my grandpa, not dealing with him, taking care of him because my grandpa wiped my ass when I was a little kid and took care of me and my snotty nose and all that other stuff. I did the same thing for my grandpa. I wiped my grandpa's butt. I cleaned his diapers. You know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff that. Most people probably wouldn't do. I did it because I love that man, and he came to every single one of my high school games. I didn't name drop him just because, like, it's not even to be like it's a sensitive part, but he's one of the most important people in my life as far as just always being positive. I went through a divorce when I was growing up, so my parents, you know how that is. But at the same time, my grandpa being there and not caring about my dad or my mom, just being there for me and my little brother, him being a white man from Salina is amazing. Especially in the 2000s to 2020, I mean 2019 when he passed away. So after he passed away, before he passed away, he asked me why I wasn't coaching, and I was just like, dude, I'm here with you every day. Like, what do you mean? Why am I not coaching? Like, you don't want to be with me no more? Like, you don't want to hang out with me? And it's just like, I know you love coaching. I know you love basketball. And the thing that my grandpa used to always say to me before every game was, keep on shooting, keep on shooting. And that's one thing that I, took into life. Like, just keep on shooting. No matter if it's a job, no matter if it's in a game, no matter if it's an opportunity, no matter what, just keep on shooting. You never know what's going to land. And David Birch announced on Facebook in October 2020 that he was going to come to China Mission Northwest, which I already knew who Birch was. Played against him at Lifetime. He's a lifetime demon. He used to give a lot of people buckets, dude. I mean, any open gym, Birch is, he's left-handed, white dude, bald.
Let's
He
get in
comes.
the league. Get in the league. Come get these buckets.
He comes in the gym wearing a size 2X shirt and some baggy shorts. Like he's from the 2000s era. I mean, that's who he is. Rocking. He listens to Biggie, all that type of shit. He's like the white boy from the 2000s. Like that's what they used to do. Eminem, all that other type of shit. Like he's on that. But he announced that he was going to be at Northwest, and I already knew that they were going to be in good hands because I mean he's an amazing basketball player just because of his size, and I mean he's the leading scorer at Ottawa. He is pretty sure leading in 3-point percentage, 3-point makes, like I said, scoring, all that, All American. He's in the Hall of Fame at Ottawa. So like he's a great basketball player. So I already knew he was going to be a great coach. He was under Ed Fritz at Blue Valley Northwest, and then he went to Piper where he won state with Tamar Bates and friends and a lot of great players that played with them. And he came to China Mission Northwest, and he did the same thing. Man, I was able to coach there for 3 years, learn a lot. Obviously, got to go against Zaid and Olathe Northwest, and play against a lot of great Sunflower League teams. Before we got there, China Mission Northwest, the laughing stock of the Sunflower League. And when I was at China Mission Northwest, we weren't. I won Sunflower League my freshman year, and we went to state in my high school career, which is in Kansas. And Sunflower League is huge because only two teams make it to state, two or three teams make it to state out of our conference, or even two or even one, just because of how heavy it is with the EKL and Sunflower League being up here. But at the same time, able to help change around a program that needed it, and a program that I came from, which I think makes it even more special. Um, they put me up on the wall. They did all this other stuff that was pretty dope. Me being a coach back there. Still not in the Hall of Fame. I'm not rushing for it. I coached against them this year. We played against them January 30th, so I think it's pretty dope. Just a full circle coming. After my third year at Shawnee Mission Northwest, I was able to get a head coaching gig. And usually I don't talk about this just because of how it went. But I got a head coaching gig at Shawnee Mission West. And I knew that I had helped build, especially with a lot of work. Shout out 6 a.m.s, but a lot of work, field work with our guys. Like I said, we had 10 guys that could play any varsity basketball program in Kansas. Ty Jackson, Vince Nixon, Devin Bolton, um, I said Dom Nixon, Avon Riley, Van Collins, Keaton Wagler, Tyler Salmon, Ethan Taylor, Braden Klon, a lot of guys that, you know, Jacob Esparza, that could have, played, basketball somewhere. Jacob Esparza is going to play Division II football this year after going to a D2 JUCO, but just very blessed to coach these guys and help me get a head coaching gig. We went undefeated in JV my last year, which I know is JV, but I mean I was playing with guys that won back-to-back state championships, and they didn't lose their junior year playing JV, and then they went their senior year and went undefeated. So they went 50-0, in 2 high school seasons, along with winning the whole KU camp, going undefeated. Um, just so blessed to be a part of that. And obviously people seeing, it could have been like the Eric Bieniemy situation, recruiting me away so we become terrible or whatever. But, I knew with Coach Burch that's never going to happen. And I had to bet on myself because I was having a son and I wanted to be able to provide for my son as far as being able to get to the highest rank. So I accepted a position at our rivals, Shawnee Mission West, which has a similar layout to Wyandotte. A lot of Section 8 housing, which is, I guess, ghetto for suburban, communities, but a lot of Section 8 houses, a lot of apartments, a lot of duplexes, not a lot of houses at the same time. African American, Hispanic, and Asian descent is a majority there, and Caucasian is a minority. Didn't used to be like that when I was in high school. It's kind of changed over time. But at the same time, when I went there, I was there for 8 months until I went on a limb and applied for USD 500 and got a job in 2 months as a special education teacher. I was, like I said, I was teaching. I didn't say that, but I was going back to school for to be a teacher and to be a special education teacher and get my master's in special education. High incidence BSc. So I just works with kids with emotional problems, and that's at the same time working with kids that have been abused, neglected, all that type of stuff, and just trying to involve them into a general teaching environment. And I was able to continue that with USD 500 at Fort Hays State, and I got a job at Wyandotte. Man, when they told me, because I had applied at after I had resigned, because I didn't get fired, I resigned. So after I resigned at Shawnee Mission West, I applied at FL's Flagel, Harmon, Washington, and Sumner. And I had sent emails to, Googled the emails of all their ADs, all that. Principals tried to put my name out there. Obviously, nobody hit me back, and I just went to a job fair. It's right up the street from me. I live on 58th Street. I bought a house subsequently during COVID in 2020. So I was driving from KCK to Shawnee for my coaching job and my teaching job, and this was just a chance for me to stay in KCK the whole time, living off 58th Street. So I went to that job fair, ended up getting placed at Wyandotte, where I met Miss Stewart and Mr. Kyle Joyce, who is my principal at Wyandotte. Miss Stewart retired, and Dr. Gulliford is now our principal. But I volunteered at Wyandotte in my first semester because she asked me to. It's just crazy, bro. She was a student of my head coach. So my head coach in high school, Ben Mesky, was her math teacher at Topeka Hayden High School, which is probably like, I'm not trying to be like this, was 1970, like a long time ago. So like, that when she was in high school, and when she saw me, she automatically knew who I was, and she wanted me to be a part of the basketball team. And I don't know if a lot of people know about Wyandotte, but I mean, I know a lot of people know. I know a lot of people know about Wyandotte now, but I don't know if a lot of people know about Wyandotte in the past. It's one of the greatest high schools in Kansas, and won 20 state championships. The first state championship, national championship, being in 1923, and I was able to, accept the job May 31st on my birthday, 2024. I mean, no, 2020. Yeah, 2024. Um, and obviously it was late, but it was one of the best birthday presents I've ever gotten, besides my daughter. And being able to, lead these young men who I had volunteered for before, so I seen the type of adversities they were going through, whether it was in school or on the court. And to have a whole summer where we had 7 guys, and we had 4 of them walking to practice. Like, I'm not talking about like walking on Plum or walking on, Shawnee Mission Parkway or Black Bob or whatever street that you could think of that's a nice street wherever you live. I'm talking about walking on Central Avenue, talking about walking on State, Parallel, Quindaro, to walk to Wyandotte. And it kind of, hear it in my voice a little bit, kind of gets me choked up, because it's like, these kids really believe. Like, they're walking 3-4 miles. My black kids, my Hispanic kids that don't have a lot of backing when it comes to, home life. People that will get them to practice, people that will invest in them. And to see 7 guys turn into 20 guys, in the fall time when it came to fall conditioning, and then 50 guys when it came to my first year tryout. We have 30 guys my first year, which is, there's some schools in my conference that don't have 3 teams. We've had 3 teams every year. We've had 30 plus kids every year. Probably could have had more this past year with an all freshman team. I'm trying to have an all freshman team next year in my 3rd year. But, you know, going into the 2nd year, I mean, we had 25 guys come almost every day to summer workouts, doing protein, doing workouts, doing skill work, scrimmaging, and then doing a summer league that I paid for. The first year I paid for it all. The 2nd year I said, hey man, let's go half. I'll pay half. You guys pay half. A lot of people don't need to know this, but we get paid for working with our kids in the summertime at KCK. I use that money just like I use my coaching money to invest in my kids, because we don't get a lot, and our kids don't get a lot, and our kids deserve the most. So that's been able to help me get our kids, like, our kids have a quarter zip. Quarter zips are the cool thing now for the youth. So our kids all got a quarter zip. Our kids got a long sleeve dry fit. Kids got a short sleeve dry fit. I'm trying to get our kids like some sweatpants and some slacks before the season ends, just so they can have these nice things. So if they go to an interview, or if they want to chill or be around or anywhere, that they can represent our school and just be comfortable and knowing that they are a bulldog. And like I said, it's been amazing. I don't think I would be able to do a lot of things I'm doing right now, obviously without my village, but without my administration, without, the backing that I have at Wyandotte, it's been like I cannot think of anywhere else I want to be. Obviously, I want a new gym. Obviously, Emmanuel, you see, when you played at Spence League, I want a new floor. I want all these things, but it doesn't come without the Spence League. It doesn't come without people having eyes on it and seeing like this is a historical landmark. We need to take better care of this place. We need to put more money into this place. It is the inner city, but these kids probably deserve it more than the kids that are in suburbia. Not even to be like that, because it's not, any kid deserves everything. But, and this is something that I thought was cool. Now, obviously, I'll wrap it up with this question, but our hardest working people need to be in the inner city. And that's just how it is. Like, if you say you're a hard worker and you're not in the inner city, then you're not really a hard worker, because, this is where we need you. We need you here. We need you building youth programs. We need you building feeder programs for our schools, giving back to our kids, giving them hope, because nobody else is doing that. And, right now, with us in Washington, also, having some, Harmon and FL Schlegel with great coaches, we're just trying to build feeder programs. So, like I said, just trying to push the needle and at Wyandotte, and I feel like we have. No one really knew about Wyandotte until you know, I came here, and it's not to make it sound like that, but it's just like, that's what I want. I don't want it to be about me. I just want it to be like, why don't you know about this place? Why is it taking you this long or this specific experience for you to learn about this place? And I think that would be eye opening to a lot of people. So yeah, that's my coaching journey. Sorry. Sorry.
I mean, you covered it exactly how it's supposed to be covered, man. I mean, and I'm listening to you and I'm learning a lot too. Like, obviously knowing you through the league and things like that, but learning more about you just on how you think about the kids, why you do the things you do, why the league is where it is now, which we'll get into here in a moment. But my other question I was going to ask you before we get into that, through your coaching journey, like, what is it that you hope that you see from these kids when they walk that stage, when they take that next step into life? What is it that you're hoping that they can take away from you in specific?
Being better. And it's not even like I'm saying, like, I know they can be better than me. And a lot of my kids look at me because some of them know that I played. I don't talk about it a lot. I usually just go out there and play against them, and I don't talk about, like, what I've done and all that other stuff. That they don't care about that. They'll just look at me like I'm just some washed OG anyway, so it doesn't even matter. So, um, just just continuing to do that, and to like just bestow knowledge, because my fault. Go back on the question again. My fault.
Just the biggest thing is just like, what do you hope that they could take away from you? And you kind of touched on,
Yeah, just being better than me. And my fault for getting off the train of thought, but being better than me, because that's what I say to them all day. I mean, I've made so many mistakes being 33 years old. Probably still going to make more mistakes. But that's one thing that I'm not going to stop doing, is learning. And like I said, we're 1-11 this year. We won 2 games last year. We are off to a better start this year because we didn't win a game until the 15th game last year. So I mean, we're off to a better start, but at the same time, it's about lessons, man. And if you're not learning from these losses, then you're losing. And that's something that I don't want from our kids. I want from our kids to walk across that stage and be somebody that's battled through adversity, and someone that can be not just a great man for themselves, but can be a great man for a woman, a family, you know, kids. And I see that in our kids. Like, our kids, I've had one senior class, and they technically weren't mine because I didn't have them for 4 years, but they are mine because they graduated from Wyandotte under my regime. So those are my kids. And I know a lot of people, you took over these people's kids. Well, it's different in Wyandotte. Like, it's, not a lot of people are taking credit for these kids. And, for me, to see them graduate, to see them have jobs, to see them get cars, to see them still living, to see them come back to games and support. I mean, that's all I want. And obviously, we'll start to get some, Division I guys eventually. or some just even college basketball players eventually, but just having strong young men that can take care of themselves and survive at the next level of life, I think is the best thing for us because it's bigger than playing basketball in college in Wyandotte. It's life, man. And like I said, it's a life skills thing. Like I said, I just got off the phone with Key White, one of my freshmen, telling them, hey man, you need to start picking out your hair. You need to start putting this stuff, putting water in your hair, washing your hair once a week. Just giving them some tips just because like I've had experiences not just with this, but just, seeing my little brother not take care of his hair or something like that, or, people in my life. And then the next thing you know, it's gone. So it's, I was saying like, I don't want you to deal with that. And, his mom texted me right after because she heard me on the phone, like, thank you so much. I've been trying to get him to pick out his hair for so long. And it's just like, these are the type of things that we have to do for our kids. And I'll take that win over any type of win on the court. Like I said, I'm playing with freshmen anyways and sophomores. So it's like I'll take them just showing up every day. And that's all I want them to do is show up for life because there's gonna be some times that you don't want to. Promise you. It's gonna be sometimes you do not want to, don't want to go, don't want to do this. And I think the biggest thing is just, grab your nuts and let's go. Let's get it. Because, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, the world is going to look at you to be a man. I'm not coaching young women. I wish I was. I would do the same thing for them because the world is going to look at you like a man too. So it's like you gotta be a man no matter what. And I think that's the biggest thing in this world is that we all have to be men and be strong, not just for us but for each other. And it has nothing to be with sex or nothing like that, but just being strong, man. And like I said, our young men that we have on our basketball team, they're gonna gain so much from this, just because I have so many people that are involved behind the scenes, you know, that involve Spence League. Rich works at the Boys and Girls Club Center down the street from Wyandotte High School, so he has a great. He has. I mean, when I have a problem with a kid, I'm calling him on the line. Hey, Rich, let me talk. Whatever. He is, like I said, he's been my bro since JUCO though. So I've known him since 2011. So I mean, this is someone that makes the world smaller through basketball. And like I said, I think it makes it better when we all work for each other. Obviously we can't all work together. If we all want to do our own thing, but just working, for each other, promoting each other whenever we can. I think it's good for our city. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I want for our kids is just to be better than me. And I don't think that's really tough to ask, um, because they're already doing it. Like I said, if I could, they don't have dads, moms, they live with their grandparents, they live in subsidized housing, or don't have the resources or incomes. They are showing up every day with a smile on their face, have jokes, are energized about basketball. And me, not to say I don't know if I could do it. I know I could do it, but it's just like one of those things I never had to do that. So to watch them do it every single day and to watch them battle through it every single day, like they're already better than me. They just don't know it. And like they'll know it one day, but hopefully not until they graduate. So it's a full circle thing. No, like I said, just want them to be better than me, and it's happening. It's already happening, and like I said, I'm just happy to be a part of it. So.
That's awesome. Using basketball as a platform, to really make a difference in other kids' lives. Because you're right. That's at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Basketball. I mean, I'm looking back at my basketball career. I mean, it went by like that. I mean, it's such a, in the grand scheme of things, it's such a small part of your life, and a lot of lessons that coaches over the years and I was taught all throughout my basketball career. I really translate to life in real ways. I think it's really cool that you're really making a difference in these kids' lives and using your platform to do that.
No, I appreciate you. It's what I'm here to do, man. It sucks because if you're doing it the right way, you don't make a lot of money off of it. Obviously everybody sometimes think you do, but it's like no, I'm going in debt trying to do this, and that's the I won't. I'm not saying that, saying that I don't want to do that. Like I'm spending whatever money I have to, focus on my dream. And that's, obviously coaching and, building something off of this platform and using it obviously as a vehicle, like you said. And um, and making that spread and making other people do it too.
That's awesome. All right, now let's transition into the, kind of where Spence League started. Um, Spence League's it's got a real staple in the Kansas City area right now. Everyone wants to all all the best hoopers in the area are at Spence League during the
You
summer.
can see it, but you can't be it. That's the truth, man. You can see it. You can see it on the gram, but until you get in
uh,
there, you don't know.
you
You don't
got
know.
you got all types of people, man. It's been it's been dope because like people people take the in like the inclusiveness, like the exclusivity, they'll take it like it be like make it personal, like I'm not good enough for Spence League or whatever. Like who is Spence? Like who does he think he is? Like it's like, whatever, or Spence said I can't play in, and it's like I didn't even do any of that. Like you are assuming, I've let so many people, JJ, JJ Adams, or I think that's his name, Adams. He's in my DMs like, 20 times. Like, I need to be. The 20th time, I'm like, hey, fuck it, let's see it. Let's see it. I want to see it. I want to see if you can do it. And he comes in there and balls out, and it's like, he gets picked up by a team in the summertime for Spence League, and that's what it's about. But to go to your question, it started in elementary school, man, on the blacktops of Broken Arrow, Shawnee, um, recess, printing out depth charts, going to recess, putting guys on teams. Uh, Not even to be like this, but most of the teams were whites versus blacks, which it wasn't even trying to be like that, but it was just like something that we did at recess. And I think it's funny when people like make these TikToks and shit, because like we were doing that at recess, like, and no one was taking it personal. Like we just wanted to see like if we could beat these white boys, or if they could beat us, and they beat us sometimes. And it was like, it was dope, like it was fun. And obviously like we had like series and stuff like that, but like, creating teams was something that I did, at a young age. And um that's something that, when I went to middle school and met, my best friends that I still have to this day, and, Kenneth Mings, Austin Hoffman, and Naveed Rafizada. Naveed is a pharmacist. Austin Hoffman is a philanthropist that, has spent years in college, and, is summa cum laude at Illinois and UMKC, does a lot of good things. And then, Kenneth Mings is a public servant and a police officer in Texas. But like these guys, like that's what we did too. Like we made our own teams in high school too, like outside of uh high school basketball and AAU teams. So like you see all these like funny teams, like, that join like these agape leagues, and like wear like these jerseys like team 6-7 or like team whatever, like just funny teams that all wear jerseys that are different colors and stuff like that. Like we used to do that. We were team Kool-Aid when I was in middle school and high school. Like, I was Blackberry, and it was like, just mess, like just being a troll has always been a thing. I love it. I love that kids now take it to a different level, because I love being a troll too. So it's like we can all be trolls, but, you know, doing that, it started back then. And then, when I came back from California, I got to go to the Drew League. I got to play in I forgot what this league was called, but it was a league that was like the Drew League, but it was for college guys. And I always thought it would be cool, like if both of those things could be like together, like, college guys and pro guys, because Drew League was mostly pros. If you were playing in Drew League and you were in college, like you were like top 5 college basketball player. Now there's a lot of college guys in there because they're trying to, you know, do what I'm not to say do what I'm doing, but they're smart. They're doing what's marketable and getting some of these guys in there, because if you break some of them on your platform, then it makes you look good. At the same time, it's really not about that. If you do the right thing, you'll do it anyways. But when I came back home, I had a pitch to my athletic director and my head coach, and David Birch, that I wanted to host open gyms at our high school. I would not involve any of our current high school basketball players, which is kudos to me. Didn't break the law. That's awesome. At the same time, having these, having pros in there, is crazy. Rich Carter, Josh Cognon, um, I could go down the list from when it started. Anthony Woods he's a pro, but he's a national champion at Northwest Missouri State, and all these guys that came back. When I first started it, and seeing the vision, Roy Clater, these guys that played overseas and did good things. Just trying to create an environment that we could play and be safe. I mean, when I first came back from Long Beach State, I came to Hy-Vee Arena, and a dude like truck stick my knee. And I was just like, hold up, like this is where I'm supposed to play and get better and try to work on my game if I'm trying to go pro. And that's not gonna happen here because this dude is trying to hurt me or taking it personal. And I just want to go against someone that just wants to get better. And that was the blessed thing about Spence League. Just trying to make that hyperbolic chamber that was just surrounded with all good guys, no matter like the clout. And that's like the thing that I've seen over the years. Like we do this, and people take it personal, exclusivity, and oh, I'm gonna do it here, or we're only gonna invite these guys, or we're gonna invite this group, and it's just like it's not about that. I invite whoever, to come to these things, and I invite whatever team that thinks they can put a good team in to compete in the Spence League. It has no meaning about name. It's just how much work you want to put in, and like I said, that was the main premise of it, is just creating a safe environment for not only current guys, but guys that had played that were still trying to figure life out. When I graduated college, I didn't know if I wanted to coach or if I wanted to be in the music business. I ended up being in the music business for a year, didn't like it, got into coaching. So it's like, guys go different ways before they figure out what they want, and sometimes it doesn't go as smoothly for some guys in that transition. And I thought, why not help with this and giving guys a place, because we started off playing 2 3 times a week, open gyms in Spence League. We go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning. So 3 times a week, you were getting to play high level basketball, like super high level basketball, which, I mean, for anybody, I mean, you're getting all that testosterone out, like you're getting to compete, all that frustration through the week, and like you're feeling good every week. And like, obviously everybody's like happy and all that stuff, and, talking about it, and it's dope. But, then you add the league that year, we went Tuesday and Thursday during the week. And so we played twice a week, as you remember, Emmanuel, in your first year, with, I think it was a Tri-City your first year.
No, I was with Lemons None. I was
Oh, you
rocking
was
I was
that
rocking
first
Lemons
year?
None the whole way.
I forgot we had to give you that. We had to give you that belt that first year.
Hey,
Uh, hey, that was funny because nobody knew who I was, and they were like, "Man, fuck this, like, who is he? Like, what?" I started talking shit, and everybody's like, "Man, fuck this dude," and then they realized, "Oh, this is who he is." Like, yeah, that's
this
that's
is
who
the
I am.
commissioner. Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's who I am. But at the same time, like that first year, we played every Tuesday and Thursday, so like we're playing twice a week, which I thought was dope. I eventually want to bring that back, just because like it kept a lot of guys busy, and it wasn't on the weekend, where guys could rest and do travel and all that stuff. But I thought it was good. We had a really, really good output in the first year. We only had 8 teams, and it was really, really good. We ended up, I think in our first year, we sent like 2 to 3 guys overseas. Like we got like 2 or 3 guys, like some college, like, not looks. They got to college, and we got like probably like 5 or 10 guys from looks, in college. So like it was good, and that's obviously like the backtrack effect. We weren't promising anybody that. We just knew that if we got film and if we created an environment with 3 refs and the pro style rules and the integrity, obviously, that I would hold, that it would, be something. The second year, uh, at Shawnee Mission Northwest, it became bigger. Um, we had the shot clock the first year, did the shot clock the second year, and it just exploded because our guys were having to make these reads that they weren't able to make, playing at a men's league or playing in high school where there was no shot clock, and it was kind of getting them ready for college. Something that I think is very, very not hyped up. Like there has to be a shot clock. Like there's still schools out here that don't have shot clocks. Atchison High School does not have a shot clock in 2026, which is insane. But at the same time, like that promotes good basketball. It promotes fast thinking. It helps basketball IQ enhance because you're having to think fast. But I mean, it went better. We added, I think we had 12 teams. We added 4 more teams in the second year, and it went really, really good. We got to the championship. We lost. Um, at the same time, like I said, some guys did some really, really good things. I think yourself, Emmanuel, uh, has gotten better because of the league. I'm not trying to be like that, but I mean, it's made you stronger. It's made you have to, go up against guys that were bigger than you, which when you were in high school, you probably were the biggest person everywhere you went. And when you came into the league, it wasn't like that. And like I said, you got to play against with a bunch of guys like Najee and Bryson and all those and Kamen and all those guys that, they ended up doing good things because of this adversity that they continually signed up for and paid for. And like that's the thing that I don't, never want to, you know, not acknowledge that people were paying for this. Like they're paying to play in this league, and they're not getting paid to play in this league. There's no cash prize. There is bragging rights prize of being the Spence League winner and being the best in the city, which is to me still more money than you can ever pay me. Like I wanna. We went to Spence League members went to a money tournament and we won that shit. We won like $500 each, and even if we would have won more than that, it still wouldn't have mattered if I would have won Spence League. If I won Spence League, I'm feeling like that man. Like that's and I own this shit, and it's like that this is something that I haven't even been able to do, and people are walking around talking about I'm Spence League champion, and that's what it's about, and just building it in the third year and having to move because of the adversity that I told you about in Shawnee Mission West and not having a place that I was going to have it at Shawnee Mission West. Thought that could have been amazing. It was an amazing gym. It has a little bit of the style that Wyandotte has with the cement bleachers up, like the old Hoosier style bleachers. And we had an open gym there. I don't know if came. I think you came to one open gym there, Manny. At the same time, like it could have been, but God works in the mysterious ways. And at the same time, that summer we had it at Washington, and we had open gyms at Harmon and Washington, but we had the games at Washington, and dude, it was 20 times better just because like it was in the city. It was in the city, like people were popping out that were in the city that probably didn't want to go to Johnson County because of other reasons, and it's like you come to KCK, it's good because like I mean, it is what it is. Like in KCK, we don't mess with each other, and that's what I'm not trying to say we because I'm not from there, but I've lived there for 5 years, and everybody that my neighbors and everybody is taking care of each other. And part of the reason why I'm able to get that gym is shout out to Boo Richardson, who was the head coach at Harmon High School, and Mike Green, who's the head coach at Washington High School. Both of these black men helped me with my business and putting their name on me that I would only bring positivity to a place that only knew negativity, and they were they still are very, very involved in it. I mean, Boo's playing in it. He's 40 plus. I've known Boo since I was a little kid, and he's been one of the biggest supporters of the Spence League and bringing in kids and consistently playing in it. I mean, because when I was growing up, Boo had his own leagues and stuff like that I played into. And like I said, I think it's awesome that he's a big person and investing in somebody else too. And then with Mike Green, he didn't know me from a can of paint, and for him to know David Birch from Mocan and obviously know that I was a good guy under his tree. And Mike coached for Dave Gonzalez at Harmon when Dave was at Harmon before he went to Lake Northwest. So it's just small how the world basketball world is very small. So it propelled us to our fourth year, and which has been by far our best year. It was all at Wyandotte High School, the historical Wyandotte High School, and man, guys balled out this year. Man, it was countless games where guys with no wins were competing, and it's like not like they were And we had guys that had no wins that lost by like an average of 5 points like every game. But like it was so high scoring that points allowed put them down to the bottom too, along with their record. Like I said, I just can't wait. I can't wait to unveil the new trophy this year. Wait to
Man, new
unveil.
trophy.
New trophy needed to be done a long time ago, but just with that, we're gonna have a league weekend this year, which is gonna be like almost like all-star weekend where we're having, guys coming in and, doing 3-point contests, doing skills contests, doing dunk contests, all-star game, youth all-star game, youth AU game, women's all-star game. So just kind of want to pour in that whole weekend and just like doing fun stuff for our city, but doing it at Wyandotte, also partnering with our local businesses that have helped, especially this past year, like A&J Mojates, which is a Mexican restaurant that's right down the street, who let us hang posters, hang shirts in their restaurants to help promote our business. And like I said, it's not for profit. All of our stuff goes to everybody. Like I spent, you got a shirt, right? You got a Spence League shirt, right,
I
man?
got my
Yeah.
gear
Oh,
upstairs.
like I gave out 150. I bought 150 shirts. We bought, with all the money that we got, we get the jerseys, we get the shirts, we get the shorts. Um, we were able to pay for media the first 3 years. This past year, I obviously told the media, like, hey, man, like, we're kind of breaking people right now. So as much as we want to pay for you and break you, like, we just got to come to a certain agreement. Like, you can come here when you want to break and do that stuff, but like, I just can't afford to keep paying you and keep doing that if I want to keep investing in the guys to come in here, because they're gonna just feel like I'm just taking money from them. So at the same time, like having pro refs, has been amazing. Obviously that costs, but you can't put a cost on that. And I think that's made our guys stronger. I think it's made it glaringly obvious, especially for me being a high school coach and having to deal with some of these high school refs that are terrible. Like our refs, we have the best refs, dude, in the league, and not even the league, in our Spence League, but we have the best refs like that I've been a part of. And shout out to Marty. I'm so blessed to have him as part of our head official, and able to know him from going to Bishop Miege and obviously being a professional referee and coaching in college, and able to pay him to be in our league and pay him to get other referees that hold that same integrity. But man, this fifth year, man, I'm like I said, I'm going all out. We're gonna have it, 2 weeks earlier. Try to get more games. Try to do a little bit more things involved in that. And like I said, like it's awesome for our kids at Wyandotte. Um, I got to have, my kids there working the shot clocks, doing that type of stuff, learning different things. Obviously, did it, cut volunteer stuff? And yes, it did. At the same time, like I got to be around my kids every day, and my kids got to stay out of trouble every day. Every Sunday, I knew my kids were going to be in the gym with me. So like that was like a sense of peace. And obviously having my own kids there too, my wife, my family, my mom works the front door. Like my mom is the reason, like this is named Spence League after my dad, because of all the things that my dad did for me growing up playing basketball. But I mean, for my mom, I mean, this could be the Lisa League too. I mean, my mom is amazing. I mean, that's part of the reason why I wore pink jerseys at first, because my mom is a breast cancer survivor. I also have the tattoo. I have the BRC1 gene, which is, one time in my life I have a chance to have cancer. My mom has it. It's a rare disease that, you know, is I think 13 or 14 families, started it in America, with the testing at Creighton University. But like I said, without her, able to see her battle through breast cancer at a young age, see her battle through being a single mother at a young age, see her battle with, dealing with, me and being a black male, and her obviously being a white woman, and not having her try to put uh, her experiences on me, but just prepare me for what I was going to endure as a black man. Like I never had any like personality issues or identity crises because like I always knew I was black. That's why people, laugh at me. Oh, you're mixed, you're half white or whatever. It's like, no, my mom always told me I was black. She told me, when I got pulled over to put my hands on the steering wheel, make sure that my wallet is always in reachable, sight and all that other stuff. Like she didn't play that shit. So like I'm so blessed to have her and, have my dad and, have the people that, continually, pour into me, my stepdad. Because without them, Spence League is nothing. And I wish I could change the name, but it's already became too prevalent and it's become too catchy. But,
Staple, man. Staple.
Spence League is becoming a staple, man. We're just trying to keep it going. Able to break a lot of people this past year. My goal was to have 1 million insights, and we had 2.5 million insights in one summer. So we were, the first weekend we had like five, like it was crazy, dude. Like it was just to watch the page grow. We haven't posted in 6 months, and we still have 100,000 people that look at the page every single day. So it's like, just to have that type of, you know, niche right now in Kansas City is dope, and just trying to keep it organic and keep giving back to people. So
It's the truth, man. I'll speak on being a member of the league. Like, I remember my first like couple pickups in the Spence, and it's like I feel for any hooper that goes to pick up, you're like, all right, like you'll go in here, throw your shoes on real quick, get a couple jumpers up. I see Tyon walking in the gym. I see Tyler Guyman walking in the gym. I'm like, okay, this is not. I'm not coming here in here to play with, and shout out to my man Landon Wagler, but like, I'm not coming here to play with the Shawnee Mission boys. Like, we about to hoop, okay?
hey, it's not it's bro, when you coming in, I'm sorry, CB's hooping in these CB's
Like
hooped in the gym.
Christian Bronze pull
Yeah,
up. These
like we
legitimate hoopers, and no slight to myself or anybody else who joins, but like these are guys that are playing basketball at the highest level possible.
Dominique Morrison, I mean, 45. I mean, he's Raytown legend. I mean, he's
Mhm.
a dude that's still playing at a high level, and he's like an ancient man, but he is so good. He's so good, dude. I mean, he's still giving his first step is crazy, and it's like, for a lot of these guys, Keaton was when I did how I not breaking rules. When I did leave from China, Northwest, Keaton started playing the open gym. He played in the open gym when he was allowed to. At the same time, like, having these guys in there, and Ethan played in it, and like, Avon played in it, Vance played in it. I mean, Van played in it. All of our Northwest guys played in it, but like seeing all the other guys like Jacob Gilliards, the fucking Shaq Harrisons, these guys that played in the NBA, like, these dudes are really good, like top 150 in the world, coming back and not being too cool to play,
And
in the
not
in
only that, but I mean, give these guys they're giving almost full effort too. Like they're not coming in there just. I'm not saying if I'm guarding Tyon, he's not trying to break me down like I'm, anybody. But he's like, bro,
yeah.
I'm about to score you. You gonna feel this work, pause.
No,
Like
like if you try to go to the basket, he's trying to block your shot or some shit.
yeah,
You just go by him. So it's like,
exactly. And
I
I think you touched on it too with the shot clock too. That's something that I think a lot of pickup sessions miss in a lot of leagues. There's a lot of leagues around Kansas City, a lot of good leagues too, but like you just miss it with the shot clock and the three pro refs and the having coaches. I mean, my team this past year, we had Boo on our sideline and as a player with us. And like Boo, if you don't know Boo, that's one of the most encouraging and realest dudes you're gonna be around. Like he's in my ear the whole game, like, yo, bro, you gotta be more dominant. Like you got like if you get it here, like don't even look to pass to none of us. Like rip through and score that thing. Like, and having that like culture around the league is something that's like you can't replicate that by just going to play pickup with your bros. Like that's what the league has brought and in my opinion, continues to bring. Um, and I wanted to ask you, this is my last question for you on the topic of the league. Like, touched on it with like the All-Star game, the 3-point contest, dunk contest. When you said dunk contest, I already had somebody in my mind that needs to enter the dunk contest. Like today, if you were
Who?
watching this, Terrius Walker enter the dunk contest now. You stupid
I think
bounce.
and I will put my own cash up for the dunk contest. And like just because like I like the dunk contest and the 3-point contest, like I would want that to be a cash reward just because like that will influence like that will bring the best out of people in that moment. Like just for that. Just for like just not even to say quick entertainment, but even having a one-on-one contest. Like nigga,
Yeah,
one-on-one crazy in the last 2 years with the next chapter and all this other, obviously in Kansas City with guys doing it. It's been amazing. Like it's also, help guys, get looks overseas too. So, involving that could be something that is also, prevalent too. I've had, talks with people of trying to, collaborate with some things as it fell through. Not all the way. At the same time, like I said, it's just trying to create something that is is new but organic. Like after our first year, people try to tell me that we need to do All-Star game. I'm like, hold up, dude. Like we have to have like 5 years of this to like, establish like this is something that's gonna keep happening. And like this is something that it's a badge of honor, obviously, to play in. And I feel like now as as we're on the cusp of approaching the 5th year, like, shit. Open gyms start, March. I already got the dates. Open gyms start March first, first week of March. So it's like it's coming up, but at the same time, like to have, to have, these new fresh things coming in, especially like as we get more media, and that's one thing that I think we haven't really talked about, and that's me too. Like, dude, shout out to everybody that's came and literally sacrifice your Sundays, your weekdays, your free time just to pour into somebody else's vision of mine, and obviously the player's vision. Because if you don't capture this stuff, a lot of it's not seen, and a lot of it is not marketable, or even it's not where it is now. And having guys like Chris White, Zach Nelson, um, Jay Views. I'm just gonna go with some of them by their because I don't want to mispronounce their first names, but Jay Views, 131 Pod,
yeah.
just going through all of the freaking um, Lex shots by Lex, just like these Lex shots, like these guys have poured out so much time and effort into the content, and it's showing. And like I say, it's helping them too. Like a lot of them have created their own businesses. They have people working for them now, and it's like that is what this is all about. Like, and that's why I tried to tell them when we first started it. Like, I can pay you money, but like you can make more money off of me than I could ever pay you. Like you can make more money shooting and creating off of what I'm doing than I could ever pay you. And if you can get that into your head and understand that, because I would love to be in your position. I can't. I have to continue to fuel the engine so that you guys can have something to do. But at the same time, if I space everything out and try to pay for everything, we're not going to have anything. They got the vision. Like they're going hard. Like Kansas City is eating because of our content, and like we're able to see high school players like Sam Simmons. Like he's a member at Olathe North. I'm able to see whatever game, ever highlights of his game that I want to, because I mean the we're having somebody at every single one of the top games. There's Maverick Hawkins. Like
I was
he's a
gonna
member
say
too.
the light skinned dude from Pembroke.
Yeah, he's
Hey,
they got
elite.
covered for him too. It's like these guys are in the league. Young bull from George Good School. I forgot the name of it, but like he played in the league too. And it's like
Well, I mean,
us.
even the little homies at Barstow, like they like
Yeah,
jumping in the league and just having like I mean, I'm about to just go out here and hoop. Like that's at Staley, we had ourselves being some top guys, some good hoopers, but like to join the top league in the city and and not be too cool to do it, or not be like, oh, we wasn't trying, that's why y'all beat us. These dudes is coming out here from Barstow, giving it everything they have, running through their actions in the summer, running through, trying to see what they like to do with each other, building that chemistry. Like you can't replicate that
And
stuff.
that's one of the things I didn't even touch on either. Like we had a full high school team in the league this year that did they win a game? No, but they came and competed every single game, and there were some games like, oh shit, like they look better. Like hold up, like what's going on? And you know during the year this year, if they don't play in the Spence League, I don't think they look anywhere to where they do now. And obviously their record isn't showing the type of progress that they are, but I mean they did a whole rehaul with having George leave and then having BJ come. And BJ's a great coach, and so is George, and but there's still going to be, a learning gap in between that, learning two different systems, and obviously having the players that weren't there, now having to recruit a whole different, set of players. And I can't wait for next year and see who wants to bet on their high school players to be in it this year. Because I mean, I want my kid. I know some of my kids. I might put my high school team in there. I mean, we might get beat by
Hey,
70. But at
hey,
the same time, like our kids will at
take the
least be able
wins. We'll take the
to say,
wins.
hey, say,
I'm
hey, the
telling
Spence
you.
League, some of those games when you play against some high school games, they're like, I had some people mad, like, hold up, why aren't we able to play against Barstow? I'm like, bro, come on, man, you want to play against a high school team, bro? And they're like, man, it's messing up some of our records, man. I'm like,
No, I
come on,
remember we was like, I think it was like 10 minutes left in our game. We had a little timeout. Boo put us in out. He was like, hey, don't be in here playing around. Our win margin, we gotta have our number up here.
yeah.
We need to get a 50. We need to be a 50 on these dudes. Our win margin, we giving up this many points. We need to score this many. So our win margin is, we need to be
I'm
number
telling
one.
you.
It's a fact.
Telling you. And that's what the thing that I think is dope about the league is, me being, as I already explained, coming from a heavy defensive back, being defense points allowed, man. Like, you can't come and just gonna just let a dude score because I mean that could be the amount of points that could stop you from being in the playoffs. I mean the playoff, sitting in my basement this past summer and seeing who was in the playoffs was absolutely insane. Like seeing who beat who, what type of number, all this stuff. I felt like I was Rain Man. I was like, oh shit, like, just having to figure out what was going on. But like it was dope, man. Just seeing guys actually play defense in a league and being helped, talking, playing team defense, not just individual. It's refreshing and it's good for our young kids to see in an environment where they can get on YouTube or get on anything and see 30-second clips of somebody dribbling the ball 40 times and shooting one shot, and it's just like that's not basketball. So, said Spence League has grown so much, but there's still so many things that I haven't talked about that are going to get better, and things that we have talked about that are going to get better too. And like I said, mostly is just involving more youth, man. The more young kids that we can involve, the better that Kansas City gets. And we're not far away from getting the NBA team one day. So I think once we get that, that takes our city to a different level. But right now, why not? Why not Spence League do it? So I think that's what the cool thing about the league is. We don't have a pro team, but we got pros that come back and play at one league. So I'm really, really, really blessed. And, as everybody wants to be concerned about the people that try to do the same things as us, I mean, isn't that what you do things for in the first place? And we don't do things for us to do it for our whole lives. That's a monopoly, man. I'm not here to create that. I want people to, you know, be inspired by this. And if you're not inspiring, man, at least one time in your life, man, you're not living. So, like I said, I just want to thank you guys for having me on here. I know you said this was your last question. I'm not trying to close it up, but like I said, I know you guys uh, have a lot of people wanting to get on here and tell their story. But for you guys, obviously, to reach out for me makes me feel special because, like I said, my head is down working for guys like you. I know, Zaid, you don't play anymore, but at the same time, I think there's still something amazing for you in basketball, and I know for both of you it will happen. Obviously through this platform and from you involving other people and spreading everybody's story, man, is beautiful. So I want to give you guys your flowers too. Being young people and giving people flowers is something that it doesn't happen, man. And to see young guys like you doing that, and, getting out of your comfort zone and putting your name, image, and likeliness on the line to do this, I think it's awesome, man. So just keep doing it, keep being yourselves, and keep staying together. So hey, I look forward to watching more and more episodes, man. I've been tapped in, been tapped in.
Go.
Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
it, man. Your story is really powerful. And it's not just because of what you accomplished, but it's how you give back to your city and what you're doing for the Kansas City area. It's really special. So it was an honor talking to you today and really hearing your journey and your story.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, OJ, for real. You know that, bro.
How it is, Bird. How it is. I'm a lot. Finish up the season right, man. I knew it was gonna be a good year for you when your head coach was at the Spence League games. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be hey, it's getting serious. I said, we got college coaches here. I said, oh shit. And that's one thing that I think, like I said, not to keep rambling on, but like, dude, we got scouts. What like everybody wants to, access the film and all that stuff. But the only people I care about is obviously the people that want to post it and send it off. But the coaches and the scouts, man, we had tons of coaches or have access to that Spence League summer film, and it's showing, and that's just what I want to keep creating. Just want to keep giving guys opportunity. So appreciate you
Oh
guys,
yeah.
man, for real.
So
Oh yeah.
appreciate you, AJ.
I know Casey's got a lot of hoopers, man. So it's cool. They're giving them a platform to really showcase their skills.
It's a flyover state for a little bit, but not for long, man. Like I said, being able to come back here, work on your game, not have distractions. I mean, that type of stuff, you can't put a value on it. I mean, you can't get that in LA, can't get that in Houston, can't get that in San Francisco, can't get that in New York, Miami, Orlando, wherever you want to say, you can't, Memphis, wherever, whatever city, Atlanta, you can't do it like you can do it in Kansas because there are not as many distractions, and you can really work on your game, and it's affordable. So,
Thanks.
um, very affordable. So, I'm just very very blessed. Hopefully, one day the Spence League will be in my backyard instead of at a high school. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's all.
yeah,
Well, we appreciate you sharing your journey today with us. Everyone listening, make sure you tap in with Spence League this summer, and make sure you follow them at SpenceLeagueKC on Instagram. The energy, the talent, the community, everything it stands for. It's pretty special, man. So anyone listening, make sure you contribute to it in any way you can. You pop out to the games. Show love however you can to the league. Um, for everyone else, we hope you like this video today. If you like keeping up with content like this, make sure to follow, like, and share our videos.
yes sir.
AJ, we
All of it.
Add it up. Add it up. Appreciate
Hey,
you guys.
Spence League